The massive Council station orbited Proxima Centauri like a jewel against the darkness. Ambassador William Carter looked out the viewport of his shuttle as they approached. After 30 years as a diplomat, this might be his last mission. He straightened his blue uniform and touched the silver Earth emblem on his chest. "Are you ready, sir?" asked Samantha Miller. The young aide handed him a datapad with his final speech already loaded. "As ready as anyone can be to say goodbye to 100 years of galactic cooperation," Carter said with a sigh. "But they've left us no choice." The shuttle docked with a gentle bump. Carter and Miller walked through the gleaming hallways of the station. Aliens of all shapes and sizes moved around them. Some had too many eyes. Others had scales or feathers. Carter noticed how they stared at the humans. Some looks were curious, others angry, and a few seemed afraid. "They act like we're going to bite them," Miller whispered. "Some of them think we might," Carter replied. "Humans developed faster than any species they've encountered. It makes them nervous." The great doors of the council chamber opened before them. Inside, representatives from over 300 alien civilizations sat in rising tiers around a central speaking platform. The human delegation took their seats as the chamber hummed with tension. The council leader, a tall blue-skinned alien named Dorex, called the session to order. The council recognizes Ambassador Zelk of the Zelbaxi Confederation. A thin gray alien with 4 arms stood up. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Council, I bring before you Resolution 5429, regarding the containment of human military and technological development." Carter's jaw tightened. This was exactly what they had feared. Ambassador Zelk continued, "Humans have shown unpredictable evolutionary tendencies. In the mere 50 years since their admission to the Council, they have expanded to 7 star systems and developed weapons technology that threatens the balance of power. We propose strict limitations on their fleet size, weapons capability, and technological research." Murmurs of agreement spread through the chamber. Carter stood up, and the council leader recognized him with obvious reluctance. "Fellow members of the Galactic Council," Carter began, his voice strong and clear. "For 50 years, Earth has abided by every regulation, treaty, and guideline set forth by this body. We have shared our medical advances, our art, and our resources. Yet today we are treated not as partners, but as a threat to be contained." He paused, looking around the chamber. "Every species represented here has the right to protect itself, to grow according to its own nature. What you propose today would deny humanity that basic right. You fear what we might become, rather than respecting what we are." A blue-skinned Arxian stood up. "The humans advance too quickly. Their adaptability gives them unfair advantage. Is that not what evolution is?" Carter asked. "Each of us adapts to survive. Would you clip the wings of a bird because it can fly while you cannot?" The vote was called despite his words. One by one, the alien representatives cast their votes. Carter watched as the numbers climbed on the large display screen. The result was overwhelming. 278 in favor of the restrictions, 42 against, 18 abstaining. Carter stood again. The chamber fell silent. For a century, humanity has believed in the promise of this council, that different species could work together in mutual respect. Today proves that promise hollow. He took a deep breath. As of this moment, Earth and all human colonies formally withdraw from the Galactic Council. Our diplomatic outposts will close within 30 days. Council ships will no longer be permitted in human space without explicit invitation. Gasps and shouts erupted across the chamber. The council leader banged his ceremonial staff for order. "Ambassador Carter, please reconsider. This is a dangerous and reckless action." "The danger was not of our making," Carter replied. He nodded to Miller, and the human delegation stood as one. "Goodbye." As they walked toward the exit, an Arxian diplomat named Valtek approached Miller. "They do not understand what they have done today," he whispered, his large eyes blinking rapidly. "When humans leave, everything will change." Miller looked at him curiously, but Carter called her, and they departed without another word. As their shuttle pulled away from the station, Carter looked back one last time at the glittering structure. "Do you think we did the right thing?" Miller asked. "I don't know," Carter admitted. "But I do know this. The universe just changed forever." 6 months had passed since Earth's departure from the Galactic Council. The Earth government had established the Independent Intelligence Agency to monitor alien activities. Daniel Gordon sat at his desk reviewing reports when his assistant rushed in. "Sir, you need to see this immediately," she said, handing him a data tablet. Gordon frowned as he watched the footage. It showed a Zelbaxi colony world, usually bustling with activity, now completely silent. The camera panned across empty streets and buildings. "When was this recorded?" Gordon asked. 3 days ago. The entire colony, over 50,000 Zelbaxi, gone without a trace." Gordon rubbed his temples. "This is the third world to go silent this month. Something is happening out there. And the Council isn't sharing information with us anymore." Across the galaxy on a commercial space station, Lisa Rodriguez arranged her goods at her trading stall. As a human merchant, she had grown used to cold treatment from alien traders. But today something was different. A Jorkian merchant who had always ignored her now nodded politely as he passed. Later, a Volturian named Krex approached her stall. They had done business for years, even when relations were tense. "Lisa, my friend," Krex said quietly, his 4 eyes darting around nervously. "Strange things are happening. The aliens who used to look down on humans now speak of you with respect, even fear." Lisa raised an eyebrow. "Why would anyone suddenly fear humans? We're not the ones with the biggest fleet." Krex leaned closer. "There are rumors. The Nyxveran Empire is awakening after 5,000 years of sleep. The Who, an ancient race, feared even by the oldest council members. They conquered half the galaxy before mysteriously retreating to their home systems. And now," Krex's voice dropped to a whisper, "they're asking for humanity." Lisa felt a chill run down her spine. Why would they ask for us? Humans weren't even spacefaring when they were last active. No one knows, but the Council is panicking. They called an emergency session yesterday. Earth wasn't invited. Back on Earth's moon, President Joseph Malone worked late in his office on Luna Base. A soft chime indicated an incoming transmission. The screen remained black, but strange symbols scrolled across it. "Computer, identify source of transmission," Malone ordered. "Unknown," the computer replied. "Transmission origin cannot be traced. Language does not match any known patterns." Malone frowned. "Alert intelligence and begin translation attempts." 3 hours later, Gordon stood in the president's office, looking troubled. "Our best AI can only translate parts of it," Gordon explained. "But we're confident about this phrase. The compact is broken. We are coming." "Coming where? Coming for what?" Malone asked. "Unknown, sir, but there's something else." The Arxians sent a coded message through unofficial channels. "They want to meet." Malone raised his eyebrows. "The same Arxians who voted against us at the council?" "Yes, sir. Their message said it's about the Nyxveran." Before Malone could respond, his aide rushed in. "Mr. President, we're receiving reports of massive ships appearing at strategic points throughout council space. They're unlike anything we've seen before." The wall screen displayed images from a human observation post. Enormous black ships hung in space, dwarfing the council vessels nearby. They resembled obsidian shards, reflecting no light. "Are they attacking?" Malone asked. "No, sir. They're just waiting." Ignoring all communication attempts. On the commercial station, Lisa watched as aliens rushed to their ships, abandoning goods and property in their haste to leave. Her Volturian friend Krex appeared, pulling her arm. "You must go now," he insisted. "A Nyxveran ship has been spotted heading toward this sector." "I don't understand what's happening," Lisa said. Krex's 4 eyes blinked rapidly. "There's an old saying among the elder races, Pray to never live in interesting times. I fear those times have come again. He pressed something into her hand, a small, ancient-looking device. If you encounter them, show them this. It might help. As Lisa boarded her small trading vessel, she looked at the strange object. It was made of an unknown metal and had markings similar to the most ancient human writing systems found on Earth. In his office, President Malone stared at the final translated message fragment. The Guardians have left the circle. The balance fails. We remember the original pact. What pact? He whispered to the empty room. What did we forget? Dr. Olivia Wright brushed dust from the ancient tablet in her Mars research outpost. As Earth's leading expert on alien civilizations, she had spent years studying forgotten species. The tablet contained symbols similar to those in President Malone's mysterious message. The door to her lab hissed open. Olivia looked up, expecting her assistant. Instead, 4 armed aliens entered. She recognized their blue skin. Arctians, Council enforcers. Dr. Wright, their leader said, "You will come with us. The Galactic Conclave requires your expertise." "The Council has no authority over humans anymore," Olivia protested. "This is not a request." The Arctian raised a weapon. "The galaxy faces extinction." Before she could respond, a spray of gas filled the room. Olivia collapsed. She awoke in a grand chamber filled with the most senior council members. An elderly Arctian approached her. "I am High Chancellor Fax. Forgive our methods, but time is critical." Olivia glared at him. "Kidnapping is still a crime where I come from." Fax gestured to a central table where ancient scrolls and tablets lay displayed. These texts were found in our oldest archives. They mention humans and Nyxferin together. We need you to translate them. Olivia's anger gave way to curiosity as she examined the artifacts. These are over 10,000 years old. Humans weren't spacefaring then. Exactly, Fax said quietly. Yet these texts suggest humans played a crucial role in an ancient conflict with the Nyxferin. A role we need you to uncover before more worlds fall silent. Far away in Sector 17, Captain Kevin Phillips of the Earth ship Defiant patrolled the border of former Council space. Earth had expanded its fleet since leaving the Council, and the Defiant was their newest vessel. "Captain," his sensor officer called, "I'm picking up a distress signal." "Unknown configuration." Phillips frowned. "Source." "A ship, sir. Design doesn't match any known species." On screen. The view screen showed a sleek black vessel, clearly damaged. It drifted lifelessly among the stars. "Life signs?" Phillips asked. "One, very faint." Phillips hesitated. Earth Command had ordered caution with unknown vessels, especially with the recent appearances of massive alien ships. But a life was at risk. "Bring us alongside. Prepare a rescue team." Inside the alien ship, Phillips and his team found a dying pilot. Its skin was deep purple with intricate patterns that seemed to shift in the light. Its eyes, 6 of them, opened as they approached. "Human," it whispered in a raspy voice. The translator struggled with its language, but some words came through. "You came, as the old stories said you would." "We received your distress call," Phillips said. "We're here to help." The alien shook its head weakly. "Too late for me. The awakening has begun. Without the Guardians, chaos returns." "What Guardians? Who are you?" Phillips asked. "Nyxferin Scout," the alien said. "We search for those who protected us." "The humans." Phillips was confused. "Humans have never protected Nyxferin. We've never even met your kind before." The alien reached out with a trembling hand. It pressed a crystal into Phillips' palm. "Find the ancestral record. You were the Guardians. Before they took you away. Before they made you forget." With its final strength, the alien transferred the crystal to Phillips. "The coordinates are there. Go before the war consumes all." The alien's eyes dimmed as it died. Phillips stared at the crystal in his hand. Back on Earth, President Malone met with Gordon as technicians examined the crystal Phillips had sent back. "The crystal contains star charts," Gordon explained, pointing to a location in uncharted space. "What's there?" Malone asked. "Unknown, but it matches fragments of old legends from multiple species, stories of a place called the Forge of Souls." Gordon looked troubled. "Sir, every Nyx-Veran ship that has appeared has maintained a defensive posture except when approaching Council military vessels. They're looking for something, or someone." Malone watched as the star chart projection filled the room. "Prepare a ship. Captain Phillips should investigate these coordinates immediately." "And Dr. Wright, the Arctians still hold her. Tell them we know about the ancient texts," Malone said firmly. "Either they return her with full access to their archives, or we share nothing we discover." The crystal projection highlighted a small sector of space beyond known territory, a place that held answers to why an ancient empire was suddenly asking for humanity, and why the Council had kept secrets for thousands of years. The Arxian delegation ship approached Earth with its lights flashing in the universal signal for diplomatic mission. Inside, High Chancellor Thax nervously adjusted his formal robes. He never imagined he would come to Earth begging for help. President Malone waited in the Grand Hall of the Luna base with Daniel Gordon and his advisors. The doors opened, and 5 Arxians entered, led by Thax. "President Malone," Thax said with a slight bow, "thank you for receiving us despite our recent disagreements." "Kidnapping one of our scientists goes beyond disagreement, Chancellor," Malone replied coldly. "Where is Dr. Wright?" "She will arrive shortly on another vessel with the archives you requested. But first, we must speak privately." Once alone in the secure meeting room, Thax's formal manner collapsed. 3 more Council worlds have fallen to the Nyx-Veran in the past week. Their ships simply appear, disable all defenses, and then, he shuddered, the people vanish. "Why come to us?" Gordon asked. "The Council made it clear they don't want human involvement." Thax placed an ancient data crystal on the table. "Because of what we found in our oldest archives. The truth we've hidden for 10,000 years. He activated the crystal, and a hologram appeared, showing primitive humans standing alongside tall, purple-skinned beings. 10,000 years ago, Thax explained, humans were not the primitive species we pretended you were. An ancient civilization called the predecessors found Earth and recognized something special in humans, your adaptability, your resilience. They uplifted your ancestors as warriors." Malone leaned forward. "Warriors for what purpose?" "To fight the Nyx-Veran, who were then conquering the galaxy. The predecessors engineered both species. They modified humans to produce specific pheromones that would subdue Nyx-Veran aggression. The 2 species were linked biologically." Gordon's eyes widened. "Are you saying humans were designed as some kind of biological control for these aliens?" "More than that," Thax said. "You were their guardians. The Nyx-Veran respected and followed humans. Together, you pushed back the tide of conquest and established peace." "What happened?" Malone asked. Thax looked down in shame. "The precursors to the Council feared human potential. They saw how quickly you advanced once uplifted. After the Nyx-Veran threat was contained, they abandoned Earth. They altered records and removed Earth's coordinates from galactic archives. They left you to develop in isolation, hoping you would never discover your true history." Malone stood up, his face flushed with anger. "Your predecessors engineered humans as weapons, then discarded us when we were no longer useful." "Yes," Thax admitted. "And now we need you again. Without human presence in the galaxy, the ancient bond is broken. The Nyx-Veran have awakened, seeking their former guardians." Meanwhile, at the coordinates from the Nyx-Veran crystal, Captain Phillips and Dr. Wright explored an abandoned space station. After her return from Arxian custody, Dr. Wright had joined the mission to uncover the truth. "This architecture is unlike anything I've studied," Wright said, examining the strange curved walls. "It's at least 15,000 years old." Their lights revealed a massive chamber containing rows of stasis pods. Most were broken and empty, but a few still glowed with power. What is this place? Phillips wondered aloud. Wright checked her scanner. According to the Arxian archives, this might be a predecessor laboratory, a place where they conducted their genetic experiments. Phillips approached one active pod. Through the frosted glass, he could make out a humanoid figure. Is that human? Wright moved to another pod containing a purple-skinned being. And this is a Nyxferin. I think we found the prototypes, the original engineered versions of both species, preserved from before the genetic modifications were complete. Back on Earth, President Malone faced an impossible choice. The Council abandoned us, manipulated our history, and now wants our help. Fax nodded sadly. We deserve your anger, but billions of innocent lives are at stake. What will humanity do? Gordon looked at the reports of fallen worlds. Whether we help them or not, the Nyxferin are looking for us. We need to understand why. Malone turned to the window, looking out at the stars. We'll help, but on our terms. The Council will acknowledge what they did to us, and they'll recognize our sovereignty over the disputed systems they denied us. The Council will never agree to such terms, Fax protested. Malone smiled grimly. They will if they want to survive. The Galactic Council chamber erupted in angry shouts as Thax presented Earth's demands. Ambassador Carter stood calmly in the center, waiting for the noise to subside. This is extortion, the Zelbaxi representative cried. 20 star systems in exchange for help. Carter shook his head. Not extortion. Justice. You engineered our ancestors, used them as weapons, then abandoned them. Now you face extinction without us. These are our terms. After 3 hours of heated debate, the Council voted. The terms were accepted by the narrowest margin possible. Humanity would help, but the cost would be high. Back on Earth, scientists and military leaders gathered in the Global Command Center. Admiral Carol Bennett, head of Earth's Defense Forces, addressed the group. The Nyxferin have taken 7 more worlds since our last update, she said, pointing to a star map. Our ships will deploy in these sectors, carrying special broadcast teams. Dr. Wright stood next. We've confirmed the ancient fail-safe mechanism. Humans naturally produce pheromones that affect Nyxferin neural pathways. We've developed amplifiers to strengthen the effect. Bennett nodded. Each ship will carry volunteer humans equipped with these amplifiers. Our goal is to calm the Nyxferin long enough to establish communication. And if it doesn't work? Someone asked. Then we fight, Bennett said grimly. But that's a battle no one will win. 2 weeks later, Lieutenant Paul Martinez stood on the bridge of the Earth ship Challenger. They orbited the Arxian homeworld, which was under Nyxferin attack. 3 massive black ships hung in space, firing energy weapons at the planet's defenses. Broadcast team ready, sir, his communications officer reported. Begin transmission, Martinez ordered. The human broadcast team activated their amplifiers. Minutes passed with no visible effect. The Nyxferin ships are still attacking, the tactical officer reported. The pheromone broadcast isn't working as well as we hoped. Martinez frowned. Something was missing. He remembered reading Dr. Wright's reports about the human Nyxferin connection. One detail stood out. The Nyxferin responded to patterns, not just the pheromones alone. He had an idea. Patch me into the broadcast system. Martinez touched the control panel and began to sing. It was an old Earth song his grandmother had taught him. Simple and melodic. To his surprise, several crew members joined in, harmonizing naturally. On the view screen, they'd watched as one of the Nyxferin ships stopped firing. It's working, the tactical officer whispered in amazement. The lead ship has powered down weapons. Keep singing, Martinez ordered. More crew members joined, their voices blending together. A second Nyxferin ship stopped its attack. Then the third. The bridge crew cheered, but continued singing. They're responding to the music, Martinez realized. Not just the pheromones. They're responding to human creativity. Within hours, reports came in from other Earth ships. The same pattern emerged everywhere. The Nyx Varen responded most strongly when humans combined their pheromone broadcasts with music or singing. In her lab on Luna Base, Dr. Wright analyzed the new data with excitement. "The connection is deeper than we thought," she told President Malone. "Human creativity, especially music, resonates with specific neural pathways in Nyx Varen brains. It's like their minds are tuned to respond to human expression." Malone raised his eyebrows. "Are you saying we can stop a galactic war with singing?" "It's more complex than that," Wright replied. "But essentially, yes. The predecessors engineered both species to be connected through more than just biology. It's almost spiritual." Earth quickly mobilized its greatest cultural weapon, human creativity. Musicians, singers, and performers volunteered by the thousands. They were organized into what became known as the Harmony Corps. Admiral Bennett briefed the first group of volunteers. "Your songs and performances will be broadcast across space, amplified by our new technology. You're not just entertainers anymore. You're our front line of defense." Jason Bailey, a college music teacher who had never considered himself important, found himself assigned to the Earth ship Aurora. As they prepared to face a Nyx Varen dreadnought, he felt a strange mix of fear and purpose. "I never thought I'd save the world with a choir," he told his fellow performers. The ship's captain smiled. "Welcome to humanity's most unlikely hour. Let's go make some music." The great hall on the Arxian homeworld was filled with the sound of a human orchestra. Aliens of every species watched in wonder as 80 humans played instruments ranging from violins to drums. Their music floated through the air, rich and complex. In orbit above, a Nyx Varen warship drifted peacefully, its weapons silent. Jason Bailey stood conducting the orchestra, still amazed by his new importance. 3 months ago, he had been teaching music to bored college students. Now he led what many called the most effective defense unit in the galaxy. "They're completely calm," Admiral Bennett said, watching the monitors showing the Nyx Varen ship. "Your arrangement works better than anything we've tried so far." Jason nodded, continuing to direct the musicians. "It's back." Something about the mathematical precision combined with the emotional depth seems to resonate with them. The Harmony Offensive, as Earth called it, was working across the galaxy. Human ships positioned themselves at strategic points, broadcasting continuous performances. Rock bands, classical orchestras, gospel choirs, and folk singers all served on the front lines. The Nyx Varen advance slowed dramatically in these regions. On the council station, alien representatives watched recordings of the human performances with a mixture of relief and unease. "It's primitive," a Zelbaxi counselor said, "using sound waves to manipulate neural responses, yet it works where our most advanced technology failed." Dr. Wright had joined the council's science team to explain her findings. "The connection goes deeper than manipulation. The predecessors engineered both species to communicate on multiple levels. The Nyx Varen don't just hear human music. They feel it in ways we're only beginning to understand." Meanwhile, on a remote council military base, General Vork of the Zelbaxi forces met with officers from several species. Their meeting was not on any official schedule. "These humans now control our fate," Vork said bitterly. "Today they save us with their singing. Tomorrow they may decide our worlds are part of their payment." A Jorkian commander nodded. "Their power over the Nyx Varen makes them too dangerous, which is why we need our own control over the humans," Vork said. He activated a hologram showing human performers being loaded onto transport ships. "These musicians are the key. If we control them, we control the Nyx Varen." The secret plan moved forward. Disguised as routine security escorts, Vork's forces prepared to kidnap human performers from 3 key locations. But Lisa Rodriguez, now working as a liaison with alien merchants, overheard 2 officers discussing the plot. She immediately sent an encrypted message to Earth intelligence. The next day, as Jason's orchestra finished their performance on the Arxian homeworld, a squad of armed Zelbaxi soldiers entered the hall. The human performers will come with us for their protection, their leader announced. Admiral Bennett stepped forward. That wasn't part of our agreement. New security protocols. The Zelbaxi replied. Council orders. Then Daniel Gordon appeared with a team of Earth security officers. Actually, we just spoke with the Council leadership. They issued no such orders. The Zelbaxi reached for their weapons, but found themselves surrounded by both human and Arxian security forces. News of the attempted kidnapping spread quickly. Several Council races, including the Arxians, were outraged by the plot. They threatened to leave the Alliance unless the perpetrators were punished. In an emergency session, the Council formally condemned General Vork's actions. For the first time, many Council members began to see humans not as threats, but as essential allies. On the Earth ship Defiant, Captain Phillips received a surprising transmission. A Nixveran commander requested direct communication, the first such request since the conflict began. They want to talk, Phillips told President Malone via secure channel, and they specifically asked for human representatives, not Council members. Malone considered this. This could be our chance to understand what they really want. Permission to attempt contact, sir. Granted, but with protection. Take a Harmony Core unit with you. Phillips nodded. I've requested Jason Bailey's group. Their performances have shown the strongest calming effect. Malone looked thoughtful. Who would have thought that after all our technological advances, our greatest weapon would be a college music teacher and a string quartet? Perhaps that's what the predecessors understood about humans, Phillips replied. That our strength isn't just in our technology or biology, but in our creativity. Captain Phillips stood at the airlock, listening to the soft music behind him. Jason Bailey's quartet played a gentle piece that filled the ship's corridors. The sound would be broadcast ahead of them as they entered the Nixveran vessel. Are you ready? Phillips asked Dr. Wright, who would serve as their lead linguist. She nodded, checking her translation device one last time. As ready as anyone can be to meet an ancient race that's been hunting us across the galaxy. The airlock cycled open, revealing a dark corridor. The walls glowed with faint purple lines that pulsed in time with the music. The diplomatic team moved forward, musicians continuing to play as they walked. They entered a vast chamber where 3 tall Nixveran waited. Unlike the scout Phillips had encountered earlier, these were regal figures with intricate patterns across their purple skin. 6 eyes watched the humans with what seemed like relief. We welcome the Guardians, the central figure said, the words translated through Wright's device. We feared you were lost forever. I am Captain Kevin Phillips of Earth, Phillips responded. We come seeking peaceful dialogue. The Nixveran leader stepped forward. I am High Commander Krulvox. For 5,000 years, we have waited for your return. As they talked, a surprising truth emerged. The Nixveran weren't conquerors, they were refugees. They had been fleeing from something at the edge of the galaxy, something they called the Void. Our oldest memories speak of a time when humans stood with us against the Void, Krulvox explained. Together, we pushed back the darkness. The predecessors bound our species together so we could fight as one. Then why attack Council worlds? Phillips asked. We did not attack. We searched. Krulvox's eyes blinked in sequence. When humans left the Council, it triggered ancient warnings in our hibernation chambers. We awoke believing the Void had returned. We sought our ancient allies, but found only emptiness where your worlds should have been. Dr. Wright leaned forward. The Council hid Earth's location from you. Yes, the final betrayal in a series that began thousands of years ago. Krulvox turned all 6 eyes to the musicians. When we heard your music across space, we knew the Guardians had returned. Over the next few hours, Dr. Wright's team facilitated deeper communication. Council representatives had requested to join the talks, but Krulvox refused them. The Council broke faith, the Nixveran leader said. They separated us from our bonded species. They must answer for this crime. Back on Earth, public opinion was divided. News of the diplomatic breakthrough spread quickly, along with the truth about the Nyxverin. They're not our enemies, President Malone told the Earth Security Council. They were engineered alongside us, meant to be our partners. That doesn't change the fact that they've taken Council worlds, a counselor argued. They were looking for us, Malone replied. And now they found us. The question is, what do we do next? Gordon, who had been analyzing reports from the diplomatic mission, spoke up. The Nyxverin control technology far beyond ours. Their ships can travel faster than anything in Council space. If we ally with them, we could become the dominant force in the galaxy, Admiral Bennett finished. Malone looked troubled. Is that what we want? To replace the Council that rejected us? The Council manipulated our history and abandoned us, Gordon said. Perhaps it's time for a new order, one where humans and Nyxverin work together as equals. On the Nyxverin ship, Phillips and Wright were shown a disturbing recording. It displayed strange, shifting shadows moving between stars, consuming everything in their path. This is what we fled from, Krelvox said. The void grows at the edge of the galaxy. Without the Guardians, we retreated and hibernated, hoping the threat would pass. But our long-range scouts confirm it still approaches. Why didn't you tell the Council about this threat? Wright asked. Would you trust those who betrayed you with your greatest fear? Krelvox countered. Only with humans can we face the void again. Our species were made for each other, to create and to protect. Phillips sent an urgent message to Earth. The situation had changed dramatically. They weren't just facing the aftermath of an ancient betrayal. A new threat loomed on the horizon, one that might require the combined strength of humanity and the Nyxverin to confront. The Grand Council chamber fell silent as Ambassador Carter entered. 1 year had passed since humans had left this room in anger. Now Carter returned, but not alone. Beside him walked High Commander Krelvox of the Nyxverin, his purple skin gleaming under the chamber lights. The Council leader struggled to maintain composure. The Council recognizes Earth's ambassador and the Nyxverin representative. Carter stepped forward. We come with a proposal and a warning. The proposal is simple. Earth will rejoin the Galactic Council. Murmurs of relief spread through the chamber. However, Carter continued, we have conditions. First, the Council must acknowledge its role in separating humans from Nyxverin thousands of years ago. Second, the Nyxverin must be admitted as full Council members with equal rights. The chamber erupted in shouts. The Council leader banged his staff for order. This is outrageous, the Zelbaxi representative cried. The Nyxverin took 7 of our worlds. Krelvox stepped forward. Worlds we will return. We sought only our human allies, whom you had hidden from us. High Chancellor Thax spoke next. And the warning you mentioned. Carter nodded to Dr. Wright, who activated a hologram showing the dark, shifting shadows of the void. This threat approaches from beyond the galaxy, Carter explained. The Nyxverin fled from it 5,000 years ago. Now it returns, and it will consume everything in its path unless we stand against it together. The evidence was undeniable. Council scientists confirmed the void's approach after reviewing Nyxverin data. In a private session, the Council leadership debated their options. They had little choice. Without humans and Nyxverin working together, the void could not be stopped. 3 days later, in a ceremony broadcast across all inhabited worlds, Earth and the Nyxverin Empire signed a mutual defense pact. President Malone and High Commander Krelvox pressed their hands to an ancient stone tablet, the same one Dr. Wright had been studying when she was kidnapped. It glowed with energy, recognizing the genetic bond between the two species. Today we renew a partnership that was broken long ago, Malone announced. Together, humans and Nyxverin will face whatever threats come from beyond the stars. The Council, faced with the combined might of human creativity and Nyxverin technology, agreed to Earth's terms. A reformed Galactic Council was established, with humans and Nyxverin holding permanent positions on the Leadership Council. Ambassador Carter took his seat in the Council chamber, with Krelvox beside him. Across the room sat the Zelbaxi counselor, who had proposed the restrictions that triggered Earth's departure a year earlier. The day humans departed the Galactic Council was the day the universe held its breath, Carter remarked to the humbled alien diplomat. Today, it can exhale. The Zelbaxi looked away. We did not understand what we were doing when we drove you away. We feared your potential. And now? Now we need that potential, or we all face extinction. Aboard the joint human Nixveran vessel Explorer, Jason Bailey led a mixed corps of humans and Nixveran. The aliens had beautiful, deep voices that complemented humans singing perfectly. The ship traveled along the galaxy's edge, mapping the void's approach. It's still hard to believe, Jason told Captain Phillips as they watched the stars from the observation deck. A year ago, I was teaching music to college students. Now I'm helping prepare for an intergalactic war. Phillips smiled. The predecessors knew what they were doing when they linked our species. The Nixveran protect and build. Humans create and inspire. Together, we're something greater than either could be alone. In the ship's laboratory, Dr. Wright worked with Nixveran scientists to understand the void. It's not just a physical threat, she explained to President Malone during a communication. It seems to consume consciousness itself. That's why the combination of human creativity and Nixveran protection is our best defense. Back on Earth, children in schools learned the true history of humanity, not as an isolated species, but as guardians bound to the Nixveran by design and destiny. On the rebuilt Council Station, a new memorial wall displayed an ancient predecessor text, finally translated in full. 2 species, 1 purpose. In their unity lies the shield against darkness. When the guardians stand together, the void shall not prevail. Ambassador Carter touched the words gently. The universe had changed forever, but for the first time in 10,000 years, it changed for the better.